Hello, I'm Pat Ross. I represent the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department, and I'm here today to talk about crime prevention, specifically how you can avoid being a victim of home burglary. The most important step in preventing a home burglary and other crimes is to make sure that your residence is as secure as possible. You can take positive action to reduce the livelihood of your home being burgled. We're here at the home of one of our Calaveras County citizens, Leslie, at her invitation to do an evaluation on her home security. Let's see if she's home and if she'll allow us to look around.
Hi.
Hi Leslie, I'm Pat Ross.
Hi Pat, nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Now I'm here at your husband's and your request to do a security tour of your home, indoors and out. If it's all right with you, I would love to have a look around, make some notes, and discuss it with you when we're finished.
Terrific, thanks. I look forward to the results.
We'll be doing that very shortly.
Okay.
Thank you, Leslie.
Okay.
All of the actions I'm recommending today produce one of three results. And those results are to either deter, delay, or detect a burglar in or around your home. Any of these results can discourage a criminal and make him look for an easier target. We're going to take a security tour of this typical home and point out some of the crucial areas where you can deter, delay, or detect a burglar. Let's begin our security tour right here by looking at the house from the outside. You'll want to do this with your own home by taking an objective look at the outside and see if you can spot places of weakness. Now, thieves absolutely hate bright lights. Install a photocell or a motion detector set of lights on all sides of your home and keep them operating throughout the night. Now we have here photocell lighting, and she has very bright lights at her front entrance. So their home gets a big thumbs up on that. Now, another thing is to keep your yard uncluttered. Don't make it easy for a burglar. Put all of your valuables, such as a ride-around lawnmower, away where they're not tempted to take an act of opportunity and walk away with your things. Another item to make sure you do is keep all of your shrubbery trimmed. You don't want anything to conceal windows or doors where a thief or potential burglar might hide. Cut the limbs that could be used to climb into upper windows or onto roofs. Also, clearly display your house number so that any emergency personnel, ambulances, fire, or police can locate you in a hurry if they need to. Now we're going to go around to the side of her house and see if we can find any crucial areas there. One thing I'm going to suggest to both Larry and Leslie is that they do not leave tools and ladders available for thieves to either steal or put against the house in the case of this ladder and try to break in. These actually could be very helpful accessories for any thief who might like to use this as a pry bar on the front door, or any of these heavier items with which, like a shovel, to break a window. So it's important to lock your tools and ladders and yard equipment up and make it in a very safe type of environment, like a garage or a storage shed with a good strong padlock. Now you'll want to remove any large items from your porch or entryway. If you have a chaise lounge out there that you throw things over, like towels or things that might obscure the view of your door and your porch, get rid of those items. You don't want anything to obstruct the sight of your neighbors and other passersby from what's going on your front door and the entry into your home. In 73% of home burglaries, entry was gained either through an open or a forced door or window. Now let's take a look at doors in general. These tips that I'm about to tell you apply not only to all exterior doors, but to any garage door or any basement door that enters into your living quarters. Many people forget that those particular doors have to be as secure as those leading directly outside. Doors should be of metal or solid wood construction. This one is solid wood, very sturdy. Note that the hinges always need to be protected by being on the inside so they can't be lifted out. You don't want anybody lifting pins out of hinges and just pulling your door up and out of its frame. The door frame needs to be very strong, very tight. You'll note that this one is. Any door frame that's loose or requires gluing or nailing, it should be taken care of. Otherwise, a pry bar will take that right away from the wall and entries easily gained at that point. Now, if there are no windows in the door, install a peephole so that you can see whomever's on the outside before you ever open a door. This particular model has a great window, and she has windows within 40 inches of either side. If that's the case, the lock that you put in this particular door must be keyed from the inside and not have a latch. We'll get to that in just a moment. Another thing to note is that you do not have a pet door or a letter slot within reach of the locking mechanism on the inside. Now remember, we're talking about all exterior doors, not just your front door. Most of us have a pet door that comes into our home from some location. Be very sure that people cannot access your lock from inside of that pet door. The other thing I was going to mention is these plates, these slide plates, must be secured and very, very tight with 3-inch screws into the frame. A loose plate gives easy access for pull-out on your locks. Door slide chains break easily. Do not keep intruders out with them and don't count on them to do so. A chain can be easily forced when you open a door to see who's outside. The other thing is locks with push-button mechanisms are useless. Basically, if you have a lock that's in the doorknob with a push button, very little force is going to allow an intruder to come into your home. All doors that go to the exterior and your living quarters should be fitted with a deadbolt lock. It will have basically a throw bolt that looks like this. Now, a deadbolt needs a minimum of a 1-inch throw. This one has about a 1.5-inch throw, and it means it's going to continue into this slide for a distance that would require you to take this door frame out in order to get it open forcibly. Sliding glass doors present different problems than regular entry doors. This one has a screen. If your sliding door does have a screen, make sure it has a locking mechanism. This one does. They don't always withstand forced entry, but they do delay a burglar, and therefore they will discourage them from coming in. The second thing with your sliding glass door is make sure it has a built-in lock, one within the handle that grabs to a catch on the other side. That's what customarily comes with a sliding glass door, and it's fairly safe. But in order to make your sliding glass door much more secure, you need to do two things. From the inside, you need to find a dowel that's the same diameter as this lower track. Inside, put that dowel in the lower track and make it about 1 inch less than the length of that particular section of door. That prevents any slide movement from the door when you want to keep it locked. The other thing, in order to keep a burglar from lifting your door out of its frame, from the interior, drill a hole through the exterior frame and the door frame at the bottom. When you've got that hole lined up, slide a nail in there, and that prevents any type of lifting or movement of this section of door out of its track. Those three things should make sure that your sliding glass door is safe and secure. Short of shattering that door and coming through it, it should be very, very secure. We're taking a look at windows now. This particular window is a double hung window. It has a metal frame, which is very, very hard and secure. With wood, you sometimes get some pulling away from the wall or shifting. Metal window frame, very good. And it has interior locks, 2 of them. They are latch type of locks. And for extra security, you should buy at the hardware store a key lock, which is easily installed in your slide track and locks with a key. If you have screens, they can also have key locks on them. If that is something that you find expensive or difficult, you can do a very similar thing to what we just described with the glass door. Like a sliding glass door, these have a track. From the inside, you would drill through the outer window frame into the inner window frame at a 45-degree angle and slip either a metal pin or a nail in there. Now that's removable so that you can take it back out, but it provides security that that window will not move in its slide track at all. Okay, let's take a look at some other windows. Leslie and Larry do not have a basement in this particular case, but they do have an upper story. All windows that are second floor windows, basement windows, or have access from perhaps a overhanging garage or porch need to have either security screens or even better, metal grills. Now, when you're inside, be sure you pull all your window shades down at night, close your curtains and drapes to restrict the view from outside of your home into your lighted home in the evening. Now today we've looked at many things you can do from the physical structure of your home and its surroundings. I want to talk next about 3 more measures you can take to improve the likelihood that your home will be avoided by a burglar. We'll go inside and talk with Leslie about those. Leslie, we've talked for a little while today about various elements of your outside structure, of your lighting, your landscaping, your doors and windows, other types of security measures that you have done an excellent job with. Your home is a very safe, very secure home.
Thank you.
There are a few extra steps you can take to make it even more burglar-proof. But you know, as we go on, there are measures that don't have to do with your physical structure in your home that might assist you to be less likely to be robbed. We've talked about things that have the ability to deter and delay a potential burglar. I think I want to talk about a few of the things that fall in the detection category. Now, detection or fear of getting caught is a very strong stimulus for a burglar to walk the other direction when he's casing your house. They don't want their presence noted nor identified. The first precaution you can take to warn a thief off is to make sure that you identify all of your valuable belongings. That would be taking a simple pen, an engraving pen. You can buy them at Walmart for about $10. And all of your electronics, all of your valuables, probably with the exception of jewelry, really lend themselves to this type of identification. Put either yours or Larry's California driver's license number on the item, and then list that item on a sheet of paper, making a full description and any serial numbers or pertinent model numbers. You also might want to, as an extra step, particularly with jewelry, because it's hard to describe verbally, take photos of items like that. Once you have a complete list of items that have your identification and are valuable, put them with one of your closest relatives, perhaps a parent or a child who's an adult, or put them in your safety deposit box. You don't want that list here, let's say, in your desk drawer when they're rummaging around and taking things. Now, another detection system that you and John might want to think about is getting a security system for your home, either an alarm or a monitoring system. Have you thought about that?
We did. We thought about it when we first had the home built. It would probably have made more economic sense from the beginning. But with these tough times, we're trying to, put our money where we can to pay bills. How much are those?
Well, they aren't as expensive as you would think. They've come down a great deal in price over the last few years, as electronics, generally do when something's demanded on the market.
Mm-hmm.
They They vary a great deal. It depends on whether you're going to want a monitored camera. Probably not, unless you have someone who's home all the time, or you want a running tape of things that happen. It's good for nanny set situations. But if you just go with an alarm system that has a shrieking siren and the kind of strobe lighting that burglars absolutely hate, and a monitor at a sheriff's department 911 center to dispatch someone to your home, those are quite reasonable. In fact, they've come down nearly 45% in the last 4 years.
Very interesting.
Another thing that sometimes puts people off is they think they're very complicated to either install or operate. And now they've got them to a point where they're so simple. And, you know, that even the kids would be comfortable coming in and disarming them. So I would really, you know, sort of stress that you guys take another look, see if it's within your means, and at least think about something like that, because they're very effective, especially any of those that do have tapes. You know, I don't know if Larry's commercial business has one, but those that do have running tapes, if there is a crime occurring, the chances of catching a perpetrator are much, much higher when you can identify him from film.
Well, good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. The last thing I'd like to suggest that you do is look into the possibility with your neighbors of forming a neighborhood watch. Now that's something that anybody can do. It's free, and with the cooperation of your neighbors, you can have a very effective detection and deterrent system going on. Neighborhood watches can either be as complex or as simple as you want to make them. The first step is to get your neighbors together and determine the level of their interest. And if you do find that they want to cooperate in that way, then make a list of all of the items or issues that everybody wants to address. It might be that you've got an open field up here that people continue to trespass across. It could be that there are repeated, let's say, cases of vandalism where somebody's spray painting throughout the neighborhood. Tagging is something that can be severely deterred by Neighborhood Watch. So when you decide to do that, get your group together. If there's enough interest to go forward, all it really requires on your part is a commitment to each other, that you'll look out for each other. It means that you're going to decide that it's worth the effort to take a second look if you see something funny is going on at your neighbor's house. You're going to be committed to not only communicate that to the rest of the group if you see suspicious activity, but also to the sheriff's department so that we can find out what's going on and get to the bottom of it. Now, you and your group would know what suspicious activity is after a while, because as you become more familiar with each other and each other's routines and activities, as you start to know each other better, you recognize what's normal in your neighborhood and what's abnormal. So all of a sudden, if there's a car that shouldn't be there, or you know that perhaps the Joneses down the street, they've told you they're going to be out of town this month, and there's a bathroom remodeling van, you know, pulled up to their garage, that's going to start to stick out as suspicious activity, where if you don't know the people that live there, perhaps it would go unnoticed. So, you know, the Neighborhood Watch program has proven to lower crime rates, and one of the best side effects is that you get to have a really nice relationship with your neighbors and friends. Many of these groups continue year after year, and although some of the parties may change as you get new neighbors and old ones move away, a core group is very much like a family, which stabilizes your community and makes it far safer. Now, citizens generally, we don't want them to get involved in terms of apprehending or, you know, trying to deter a criminal on the spot. But by your notifying us, we can do something about any situation that concerns your neighbors. Now, by getting to know your neighbors really, really well, you can become aware of any irregularity or suspicious activity, as I said, here in the neighborhood. You will set up a communication system which allows you to communicate easily and quickly with each other. It's called a telephone tree. It's much like an organizational chart, where you and Larry, if you're the captains, each call 2 people, who each call 2 people. And it doesn't put a burden on anyone because no one member is required to notify more than 2 people.
Would you do this prior to calling the sheriff's department?
Depending on the nature of what you're seeing. If you're seeing someone who is loitering, let's say, under a tree for an hour, you might want to get in touch with your neighbors, and if any of them have feedback, oh, he was down the block earlier, then that would be the time to get their information and call the sheriff's department. If it's a crime in progress, or if it's something that looks very dangerous or suspicious, if you see someone looking in a neighbor's window, don't hesitate to pick the phone up and call 911. We want to hear from you in that case.
Okay.
But generally, criminals, when they see neighborhood watch signage in a neighborhood, they know that these people are organized and they're alert. And it's just one more measure that makes them look elsewhere for a home to burglarize. So you are a little safer.
Sounds like a great idea. If I wanted more information on the program, where would I go to find it?
You would call the sheriff's department, 754-6500, and ask for me, Pat
Okay.
Ross.
Okay.
And I have material that I would be happy to send you. There are participant booklets that kind of teach you how to be a little bit more alert, more observant, and how to describe things that you see going on. And it helps us in being able to then locate a perpetrator or a problem maker in your area.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. We've had a lovely time here today with Leslie, talking to her about her home and its security. And she's done a magnificent job, she and Larry. I hope that some of these tips were helpful to all of our viewers out there, and that they can probably benefit from having some of this information at hand. We have more information at the Sheriff's Department if they'd like to contact us. We're interested and concerned about their safety and want to make sure they can be just as safe and happy as possible. Thank you.